evening and welcome to 15 Questions. We continue with the flip where the guys are in the hot seat. My name is Marcel and the person with me this evening is no stranger to us. So I'll let him introduce himself.
Well, good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Georgetown Tea House, where we say to you it's your best Monday night show. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and always click that notification bell so you will be in the loop when the tea is being spilled. I can't spill the tea on the computer, but my name is Cleon Cadogan. I am a Guyanese national of the continent of South America, living in the beautiful island of Jamaica in the Caribbean. One who loves music, one who loves to travel, one who is married, one who loves admin, and I function as an administrative professional with a gated community of over 1,900 homes. So I work for people and try to interact with people. So that's me in a nutshell.
There you go. Thank you so much, Cleon. I know it's going to be good and our friends going to be in the chat commenting. You know that. All right.
Let's see what comes.
All right. So here is our very first question. Before that very first question, again, I welcome you all to the Georgetown Tea House and to 15 Questions. If you're here for the first time, man, you're in for a treat. You chose the best night, the best Monday night to pop in. All right, we're excited. Look at all these faces. All right, and tonight I am accompanied by some amazing women. All right, you have with me. I have with me Orlando, Samantha, and Shabiki, and we'll chat with them just a bit. All right. For those of you who are here for the first time, make sure you if you're on YouTube, hit the subscription button and hit little bell so that you're notified every time we go live. If you're on Facebook on the Georgetown Tea House, hit that page, hit that like button, and so that you will know whenever we go live. All right. And my special friends, those of you who will be watching this broadcast long after we would have ended, I want to welcome you. You guys still come on, you guys still view, and you know what you also do? You leave a comment. And we are happy. I am happy. We go back, we look at it, we make comments as well. So thank you for choosing the Georgetown Tea House every Monday night. All right, so let's jump into some conversation with my girls. Orlando, talk to me. Today's Monday. You know, usually Mondays, they say rainy days and Mondays always make me sad. But Mondays, we chose Monday, and Mondays become very special to us. All right, how things are with you?
Well, it's a Monday. If we were referring to Monday as a work day, it was just a day for me. Productive, but very busy day. But I was definitely looking forward to tonight. So It is a special day. It's a very special day to me because I look forward to Monday nights just being on the Tea House. I love it. Love the women on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Samantha, talk to us. How was the weekend? What happened?
Nothing happened for me this weekend. Well, as you know, we are still in lockdown mode here. And so we are limited by our movement and what can be done. So we are still going to church online, and most of our interaction is happening online. And so I did nothing special but stayed at home. But today was a very rainy day, however. Very, very, very rainy. And I don't know if I like the rain or I like the sun, but I was very comfortable with today. It was a very good day.
All right. And you are looking forward to hearing from Cleon too?
Yes, I'm excited about hearing from Cleon. Excited.
Okay. Well, Shabiki, who is here for the very first time, I want to give her a special welcome to the Tea House. I mean, she's usually in the back. She's usually on the chat, you know, giving her 2 cents. And she's drinking. Shabiki, what you drinking?
Me, mustn't do me that.
I have to. I'll put you on there. Yeah, what are you drinking?
I don't want my members my members to be reading me out. Yes, what's in my cup?
Stays in my cup.
Take a second sip.
And let me tell you, I guarantee, I bet you money, Orlando, that his water should be got in the cup. She can't bluff me. She can't bluff me. I know it's water.
Well, Marcel, what I can say, this is the best water. Like,
Best
come on,
beverage,
yeah.
You see, I sold her out. And guys, Shibiki is the founder and host of Issues in Focus, a podcast as well. Every Thursday night she goes live. I think at 6:30. All right, Shibiki, talk to us a little bit about what you did today and about you.
Well, let me start with yesterday. So, as Samantha said, we're in lockdown mode. And because of that, well, thankfully, that's why I came from Tobago and I decided to holiday in Trinidad, which is like, people don't do that. Tobago is a holiday place, right?
Right.
But the friends are here. So I am here amongst a wonderful group of friends. And so yesterday I decided to, since retail open, so we're like exploring, finally trying to get out and explore new air atmosphere altogether. And yesterday I went to a movie tongue mall. It was amazing. Just a wonderful afternoon, just chilling, just eating, just relaxing. And so what I did today, because of that, I slept today.
There you go.
And later this afternoon, I went out and get some stuff. So I'm here tonight. I was looking forward for this evening.
Yes.
So I am here to have some fun.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm excited that all three of you amazing women have decided to join us in the hot seat with Cleon. All right. So Stay tuned, guys. If you hear, tell us where you're coming to us from. We want to hear from you. All right. The Georgian Chaos is a very interactive place. You have your chance to put in your 2 cents. All right. So tell us where you're coming to us from. Tell us what's happening with you, and we'll be right back.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to the Georgetown Tea House. For those who've just joined us, welcome aboard. And ladies, good night and welcome aboard.
Good night.
All right, everybody's, in high anticipation of this evening's conversation with Mr. Good old Cleon Cadogan. All right, so we're not gonna hold you back. Please remember to like, share, tell a friend, grab a drink, and sit and to join us. Here's Cleon with the first question.
What would you say has Jesus been up to since his resurrection and return to heaven?
Good one. I know he is at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for our wretched spirits. Because some of us, we have walked away so many times, and he is sitting at the right hand of the Father, just making intercession and, preparing that nice little spot for me because he knows I like everything chic and, different from the regular people. So I guess he's, doing extra work for my space in heaven. I don't know about anybody else.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that, Cleon. I like that.
Shubiki, Cleon gives us a little tongue in the cheek remark there, kind of intimating that, that Jesus is going to think about us individually and maybe, cater to our individual needs. What say you to that?
Well, I love Cleon's response, but I love the fact Cleon seems to have an extra talking with God to know that God has this. Okay, Cleon, I'm putting you here, Cleon. I'm giving you the best of the best from everyone else, because you know what? I know how you like it. Maybe you like your tea in a black glass. I'm gonna give you this special black glass. I don't know about that part, but what I know for sure, he is interceding on behalf of all of us, and he is preparing a place for each and every one of us. So when we get there, right now, I ain't even looking for how we gonna put me, because I know he taking care of everything, and he knows my likes and I don't think I have to tell him that, hey, I want this and I want that. Nah, he will take care. I know for a fact that I'll be comfortable wherever he places me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shabiki.
You're welcome.
Samantha, what could Jesus have been up to? In your mind, you hear that question. How would you respond?
But I believe that Jesus really is in heaven with the Father, and the Holy Spirit interceding, not on our behalves, he's interceding on our behalves and preparing a place for those of us who believe, right? Because it's a matter of belief that he's preparing a place for us, that when he does return, we can be with him in that place, in safety. And I am with Cleon. Sometimes people may not see it, but sometimes I feel as if God is doing a lot more for me than he's doing for other people. Because I know myself, I know myself a lot, I should say. And so I believe that sometimes God does a lot more for me than he does for other people. So, yeah.
Interesting. What's your take on that comment, Orlando, that maybe sometimes God does a little more for A than he does for B? What's your thought?
I would not say that he is doing more for one than the other. I think because he loves us all the same. We are his children. I think what he does, like we say, it's like you make that move and he does the rest of the work. Some of us, we don't take that step, that initiative, because he's given us the signs of what we should do to receive that blessing that he has for us. And unless we take that step that he is showing us, he cannot do the work. So I think most of us, or some of us, we would take that step, that initiative to move forward. And it looks as if we're being blessed more than the other. But it's just because we're obedient. Definitely
all
think
right.
that's we're obedient.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Orlando. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. We have flipped the script from recent times where we had a young lady in the hot seat. For the past 2 weeks, we have the gentleman in the hot seat. So please remember to like, share, tell a friend, grab a drink, and we're moving on.
What might Satan have been thinking as he looked on as Jesus was being nailed on the cross?
One thing I can clearly say off the bat, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. You're done with.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was just the beginning. In my opinion, it was just the beginning. But he probably would have said outright, sucker, I got you.
Samantha, your response. Both to the question, Cleon's response.
I agree with Cleon with his opening statement to the question that, Satan believed that when they crucified Jesus and they placed him in the tomb, he probably sat by and
Yes.
self-cheer himself, like, whoo, I have him in the tomb. But I know as well that the devil understands the power of God that he was dealing with. And so he didn't, while Jesus slept in the tomb, he didn't sleep. He didn't sleep for those days because he was not sure what the next move was going to be. So, yeah, that's what I believe.
So you believe. All right. Well, what could Satan have been thinking, Orlando?
I'll piggyback off of what Samantha said. I totally agree with her. He thought that he won. He's saying words like, I'm about to rule the world. I'm about to destroy everything that you've worked so hard to build. He is about destruction. So definitely he was applauding what was going on. He definitely was applauding, was happy. And again, not knowing what was going to come later on, of course, he was a little uneasy.
All right. Shibiki, might Satan have said, man, as human beings, the hard days, the kind of sacrifice, I could save you from this. What are your thoughts?
The thing about it,
was it all worth it when you look back at the past 2,000 years or so?
In Satan's eyes?
And in our eyes, if you were looking at it.
But if we're looking at what Jesus would have done, of course it's worth it. But when you look at the fact of what the enemy is trying to do, I have to ask myself, like, hey, Satan, you're not going to give up now? Like, come on. Listen, Jesus came as a babe. You tried to kill him. You used Herod to try to destroy him since he was 2. You didn't win there. As he came up, you tried so many other different methods. You tried betrayal. You tried to get his own people against. In fact, not you tried. You got his own people against him, the Jews and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and everything. When you didn't leave it there. You then tempted in the wilderness. When we look at Matthew 4, and you use 3 different temptations. That hey, at least I'm gonna try to get him here, and then finally. Nobody expected Judas. Like, come on, the person who was supposed to be with Christ's best buddy to betray him. And then crucifixion came. And I am thinking that Satan is saying, I finally won because I've tried everything, but everything failed. But the interesting thing is this. How can you, knowing the power that God has, still think that Jesus being crucified at the cross, that you won the victory? So until now, I'm still asking myself, like, hey, buddy, Satan, you're not giving up now. You ain't giving up. And I think for us Christians, we have to recognize that, hey, the enemy, even though Jesus would have risen and all of that, he is still constantly trying. If all of us believe that we are victorious and believe that Jesus has won the victory, I know some of us should give Jesus a little more props than giving the enemy props when he would do his stuff.
All right. That was a little mouthful there, Shibiki. Thank you so much. All right, you're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. We have 3 talented, very knowledgeable, and lovely young women at the tea house with us tonight: Samantha, Orlando, and Shibiki of Issues and Focus with Shibiki. Moving on with our guest, Cleon Cadogan.
List 3 things Guyanese folks do that really annoys you.
That one a little bit difficult. 3 things that we do as a people that annoys me. 1, I'm not a big dance hall fan, but when the accent of the dance hall people switches to that of a Jamaican twang, that annoys me. Going to an event and people are dressing as though they're in North America at an event, that annoys me. The other thing would be going to an event and you singing a song as a performer, or you're doing a cover to somebody else's song and you don't know it, that annoys me.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen lots of Guyanese people do that.
Things that annoy you. Orlando, I go to you. I know you got something that annoys you about Guyanese people, Orlando. And don't be shy.
You know I'm not. All right. So one of the first things I that annoys me is being loud. Um, the loud shouting is what gets to me. That's something that is very annoying. And these are, I can just speak for the people that I've been around. Very, sometimes we can be as a people very insensitive, especially in conversations when you might bring something out, maybe on a term of not wanting your opinion, but it's right away to come back is something insensitive or negative. And the gossip, especially around the women. I respect my sisters and I hold them as queens. And I believe in fixing crowns. I do not believe in putting our sisters down. So if we have something to say and it's not uplifting one to the other as a woman, especially women, I definitely don't want to be in it. But a lot of that seems to go around. And by the time it gets back to you, maybe there's so much more that you ask and like, tell me more, because I didn't know that happened. So those are my three.
All right, all right. One of our viewers, I think it was Tamika, was just saying, Samantha, that when you get them the bowl with food and things, they don't bring back your bowl. Has that been your experience, Samantha?
That's a West Indian thing, because it's not limited to Guyanese only. Because even in this situation where I live, today I went murmuring about a bowl because I'm packing up my cupboard and a bowl is missing, and I'm like, oh gosh, forget it. Just forget about the bowl. So I have this set of bowls in my cupboard that can go, that I don't worry about, and the ones that don't leave. So that's definitely not a Guyanese thing. What annoys me as people is that we are too follow pattern.
Okay.
Follow pattern. Yeah, I don't like it because and I don't like it because as a people we have our own culture, right? As a Guyanese people, we have a Guyanese culture. We have what is a Guyanese culture. We have things that are traditional to us. We have things that we should hold in high esteem because they make us who we are as a people. And we are so quick to throw those things away and to pick up things that don't necessarily follow us as a people. And so when I go to, like, when I go home, it annoys me that I can find foreign products a lot more faster than I can find our own local products. And that's a pet peeve for me, because all of the other places that I've gone, especially in the Caribbean, everybody hold dear and near to them the things that they consider as their culture or as their country's landmark or whatever. But we are quick to throw away what belongs to us.
Follow pattern. All right, I got you there. Shell was just saying she don't like when they walk around with powder on the chest. Shabiki, what has been your experience? I mean, I know a lot of young girls, especially along the East Coast and things, growing up and things, powder on the chest, that was a favorite thing. What are your thoughts on that, Shabiki?
I hated that thing with all my guts, because I never saw the significance of it. I don't know why mothers used to do it, especially when in secondary school. It's like I used to be asking my friends, it's like, why y'all doing that? Why everybody got to see you have on powder? I hated it back then. Thank God the culture has drifted a bit whereby we don't really see it. But I remember the other day we were having a conversation with friends and it came up and we were laughing about it. So that is one. I like that point. I hate it. The other thing that I hate about about us that really annoys me is traveling, especially when you're back home and you're traveling in buses, and how these drivers would put you 4 and 5 in a seat, and instead of these passengers talking for the rides, hey, it's supposed to be 3 persons in a seat, everybody just sit there and they just suck up everything. The music is so hard and loud, nobody wants to say anything, because why? They are afraid. And if you talk, nobody don't really like support you. Everybody just stand there watching and say, hey, you brave, right? And they just, yeah, they just allow you to go through that. The other thing, and I love Samantha's point with the follow pattern, but the aspect of the speech, man, you ever see a Guyanese just go over to the States for 1 month, and when they're back, he say, hello there, how you guys? I've been enjoying.
Dave Martin and the Children song about that one.
Yeah, and
but it's a Caribbean thing too, you know.
It is. It's a
it's a Caribbean thing. But for me, it's like, I don't know if I haven't been seeing it much here, but it's like, come on, not 1 month. Give me a year. Maybe I like accept it a bit, but a month and 2 months for the summer vacation, nah.
No, you talking about 2 months from the summer vacation? I know some people from the time they get a visa, Yankee. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. Alistair, aka Uncle Augie, Tyrone, and Cleon, welcome aboard. I know you guys are gonna have fun time in the chat. We want to hear more and more from you. Moving on with Cleon.
List 3 ways in which Guyanese and Jamaicans differ from each other.
List 3 ways where Guyanese and Jamaicans differ from each other.
Yes.
Our accent, 1. Our style of dressing, 2.
Really?
Yes, and our seasoning of food, totally different.
All right, tell me a little bit about how they season food then.
Jamaicans, for me living here, it's regular seasoning that we would use, but when they're doing a curry, there is no additional spices. It's just like oil burning with the garlic and the curry powder, and they add the pimento seeds and scallion and Scotch bonnet pepper. That's not curry. You heard me? That's not curry. If you're going to have masala and your jeera and your onion and your garlic and all of that, mixed in that nice paste to be sauteed in the oil, then you're not really doing curry. Next thing I would say is with our dressing is totally different. Jamaicans like bright colors, and they would do a bright colored multi-pattern top with another bright colored bottom that doesn't even coincide. I would really say it's kind of like the Barbie side of people is the Jamaicans, in my opinion.
They're going to put you on to care for when you might find your bags. And you might have somebody might come to the door knocking and send you a bunch.
All love to my Burbisian friends, but I always say to my friends, Berbice is one county, in my opinion, where all the people who live there, they look alike, they do things the same. Doesn't matter if you're Indian or you're African, they all love the same things.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Cleon. What's your favorite Jamaican dish?
I have grown to love the ackee and saltfish with roast breadfruit. Now, in Guyana, I never liked breadfruit. But for some reason, when it is roasted and fried, and you have it on the side with the ackee and saltfish, it's absolutely amazing. I love food. I love trying new foods, and so that would be one of the dishes that I really do love.
You mentioned that in Guyana you didn't like breadfruit. What I found while living in Barbados is that the breadfruit in Guyana and the ones in Barbados weren't created equal, because the ones in Barbados I find to be very sweet. It's nice. I never liked breadfruit. I hated it as a matter of fact. And when I went to Barbados, somebody just happened to give me some breadfruit. I actually stole a breadfruit from somebody's tree after that. Yes, after I ate it that time with some salted fish, salted up nicely with this breadfruit. I'm telling you, I was sold. I stole a breadfruit. All right, the same is love of girls.
No,
Moving
sir.
on. So I guess the same kind of breadfruit in Jamaica.
Shibiki, you're not from Barbados by any chance.
Yes,
You're from Barbados?
friends.
So,
No, you cannot be
would you
doing
agree?
this.
Would you agree with Cleon's statement that
No.
all Barbadians alike? It doesn't matter where they're Portuguese, East Indian, African, once they from Barbados, Or
Oh,
There was
how would you respond to Cleon?
before I go there. Here's my problem with Cleon. Cleon Bartak Barbishan. And then coming with a nice, oh, all of y'all alike. That's supposed to appease me. Let me bring in some Barbishan talk here. Cleon, you're wrong. Anyway, so Cleon, he made a valid point at the end of the day. That we look alike. I'm not certain, but he look alike. The speech might be in certain cases, where when you reach, it's like everybody's like, oh, you're from Barbados, right? And because of how we speak, well, I shouldn't say we, how most persons speak, you might conclude that they're from Barbados. Looking alike, I am not too certain with that, if that is really conclusive. Some people sometimes say, hey, oh, you're from Barbados. Just randomly they may say that, or they might even ask you from Georgia, but you're not from there. I can't really conclude that part. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Barbadians that Cleon met, all of them looked alike. I don't know. But Cleon, I still didn't forgive you. I still didn't forgive him as yet.
So Cleon, in the chat, you will let us know if Shibiki, is your picture of the typical Bobician. Orlando, what do you think about what Cleon said about Jamaican and their style and their love for flamboyant colors?
I do agree with that. That was one of my answers to it. I do believe they're more flamboyant with their colors, their dressing, their style. They think they more would put things together without trying to match it. They just put it together and wear it, and it's a style for them. So I definitely agree with that part.
Right. All right. Samantha, the amphibian. Now, Samantha, listening in at Cleon so far, where in Guyana would you figure he grew up?
I believe Cleon is from Pleasance.
Pleasant. Why? I mean, tell me something about Pleasant people that
I don't
put
know.
Cleon in there.
I don't know. Cleon is somewhere from the East Coast, but I went. Pleasance is my point of heading down the road. But
Okay.
I don't know. He has.
I mean, Pleasant produced some great people such as Eddie Grant.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe you were thinking along that line.
No, I'm thinking along the flamboyance. Everybody that I know from Pleasance, they are more. I think I might be stereotyping if I say that, and I'll be joining up with Cleon when he went out on a limb for the Barbies people there. But for me, I might be wrong. He's not Georgetown. He's not from Georgetown.
Okay.
We know
Not
he's
from
not
Georgetown.
from Barbies, right? He is not from Essequibo because we are a different cut of people, and so he East Coast.
East Coast. All right. We'll hear from Cleon a little later. Moving on.
How can a wife best demonstrate that she truly loves her husband?
I think there are several ways, but I'll give two. By firstly, not trying to belittle the husband in any form or fashion, and I leave it as vague as that. And secondly, by supporting his vision for the family.
Okay. Nicely put, Cleon. Very, very nicely put. If you were to thank God for the wife you have, how would that vote of thanks be worded.
Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, those who are listening here tonight, but most of all, the honored guest, which is the Lord of all. I'd like to thank him for creating the one and only wife that's mine. Reason being, she is a listener. She is one who supports my dreams and my aspirations. And she's one who says that if you believe this is what the Lord is leading you in, then I support you 100%. And for that, I give God all thanks, all honor, and all glory. Can we raise our glasses to the Lord of all lords?
Here, 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 here. If I had a thing, I'd get this now.
Samantha, Cleo was kind of very to the point when it comes to a wife supporting her husband, and one of the things he said is a wife supporting a husband's vision for the family. How do you respond?
I agree. Because, like I've said before, I'm a strong believer that the male is the head of the home. And sometimes we may not always agree on the direction that things should go, but the support is necessary. Now, I need to say that support doesn't mean that I run head on and I just shake my head and I say yes to everything, but I share my opinions respectfully, and I support the vision for the family. Hopefully, that in the discussion of the vision of the family, each other's opinions get heard, and the best solution is agreed upon.
Okay, thank you. Orlando, Samantha just popped that phrase, the man is the head of the home. What's your take on that? You still agree with that? Or is it time that we change that? I'm cranking you, Orlando.
I know you are. I do believe that the man is the head of the home, because behind every strong man or successful man, there is that woman that is his stronghold or his push. So I do think that the home should be led by a man. However, there a little bit of stipulations to that you also as a man should be performing as the head of the home. So it just shouldn't be like a saying. It should be that you're doing the things to be the head of the home. And
Okay,
I'll
that's
stop
clear.
there before, Yeah.
Before you get into trouble. Shibiki, Tyrone was blazing us here. Tyrone is saying support even when you don't agree. No undermining of the vision to make it fair. He sounds a little extreme there, Shibiki. What's your take? When
Yeah,
you
that's
agree with his vision or not, you support?
that's a little extreme. But first of all, I just want to touch a point where that Orlando make. I think it's time for us to correct the cliche behind every strong man there's a woman. I would like us to say besides every strong man there is a woman. So while I totally endorse the man being the head of the home, the only how we can come to this point that Cleon made here is if we are together as one. So Cleon, yes, sometimes it's good to support. Sometimes you may not necessarily agree, but leave him, let him be the man. He came up with this vision. In your hearts of hearts, you know it may not be something that will fail, but don't undermine him. Support him. But on the other side of it, if there is something that you don't agree in, I don't think we as women, well, I'm not married as yet, but as wives, they should just come out black. No, 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 don't do that. I don't want you to do that. No. For me, sit, have that conversation. Why do you think, honey? I think, from experience, maybe I had an experience, or maybe I know several persons who had this vicarious experience. I'll be like, hey, I don't think for XYZ reason, I think maybe you can reconsider it. Maybe take another, I love it, but let's take another route to this vision that you have. So it could be either way. But Tyrone, no, 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 no. To make that blanket statement, no, I really can't agree to it blanket like that, but it can be on both angles.
But Shibiki, you speak in there, and I can see that working with reasonable men, with reasonable people. All right. But, as a man, I can tell you safely, there are a few men who the female's point of view just don't come. Right?
True.
What do you do in such a situation?
He wouldn't be my husband in the first place. But anyhow, yes. But anyhow, I think those men, those type of men, they would have really mixed miss what it is to be the head of the home. Because one of the things that some men, they use that head of the home as being an authoritative figure. And any man, even men who are listening in the chat, if you go away with that mentality, whatever I say, do. Don't tell me no, don't correct me. You have to go ahead with whatever I say. Something is wrong. You are definitely bound to destruction. You are a selfish person, because if a wife is beside you, if God would have given you that woman as a helpmeet, therefore she is not that to you. And I think some of our men in the society needs to reconstruct their mentality, their way of thinking. Perhaps is how the older generation would have influenced them. But hey, we need to correct this, and let us work hand in hand together so that we will be able to achieve more in the future.
Okay, thank you, Shibiki. Great point. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. Our guest this evening is Mr. Cleon Cadogan, the one and only.
Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey, Rihanna, Beyonce, Mary J. Blige, or Jennifer Hudson. If you were to choose one of these women to sing at your wedding, which would it be and why?
The Queen Bee. She's got a lot of
Really?
money. I mean, Rihanna just became a billionaire, but I have always loved Beyonce's technique, and as someone who studied music, her versatility and her range and her set and everything that she puts the work into it, I love that. Rihanna is now a billionaire, but before I would still go with the Queen Bee.
You still go with her. I'm glad that you said that. A lot of people, I mean, Beyonce sing a lot of, these high pop songs that, highly sexualized and the kind of thing. And so sometimes you see the dance and that more than you hear her voice. It's kind of like a regular tune. But if you watch Beyonce in, there is this movie, Fighting Temptation, where you allowed to see and to hear her real voice, and oh my God, I mean, her voice is just simply amazing. So
She could,
I agree. She
as,
can
as
sing.
Americans say, she could sing.
She can sing. That girl
Yeah.
could sing.
Yeah.
I with you, Cleon. I with you 100.
Orlando, who would you like to sing at your wedding?
Definitely Jennifer Hudson. That
Okay.
girl has such a pure voice. I mean, when she belts. And it comes from the heart. Like she sings from deep within. She can sing all night as far as I'm concerned. I definitely would choose Jennifer Hudson.
Okay. So, Mike, I know you've told us from your own interview that music is not your strong suit, but I figure you know Beyonce, right?
Yeah, I know, but
You know?
and
Okay.
I also know Jennifer Hudson. Not that I
Okay.
know their music, I know who they are.
You
But
know who they are.
on this one here, I will go with Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Okay.
Yeah, I like
You
her.
you like that urban soul, hip hop fusion kind
Yeah,
of thing.
and
Okay,
she's like,
great.
yeah, I find she's very simple. Her presence is simple, but her performances are profound.
Okay. How about you, Shibiki?
I would choose Alicia Keys because I mean, for me, it's wedding, and why I love all the others, that mellow feeling, that the keys, she's playing it, and for me, I want to be serenaded. My husband and I, we should be serenaded, and hence I see Samantha raise her brow on me, yeah. But hence I will choose Alicia Keys for that. Yeah.
Okay, great. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House, and we're chatting with Cleon Cadogan.
What are the first two things you would do if you won the $1 million lotto?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't be able to win the $1 million lotto because I don't gamble. I am planning to lose no dollar in my life. However, if someone is fortunate to give me the ticket for a $1 million lotto, I'm going to firstly pay my tithes, and then secondly, I would have me a nice. What money I win in this lotto in? What currency?
US, bro. US.
Oh, no problem. We good to go. I pay my tithes, and I will make certain that I get me a nice house, because for me, I always want to design something. I'm the type of person who thinks outside of the box.
Okay.
And I would want to have a nice dream house that caters for not only myself, but my family, because we live all over the world. And so Jamaica is now the new hotspot for everybody that wants the vacation. So that type of a feel would be, and to start a charity for underprivileged children. I'm not the individual who thinks of only when you would have acquired, then you're satisfied. But it's like the government raised the bus fare here to 15%, and I was like distraught. All because I'm studying the people who can't afford to pay the bus fare.
Okay.
So having the extra dollar will go far way with starting a charity that will help people that are less fortunate.
All right, I got a bone to pick with you though, Cleon.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not buying the ticket, but you happen to get a ticket,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now you already established that I'm not gambling, gambling wrong, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So how we giving title? How you think God accepting
Well,
a tithe
I was
from
given a gift.
the money?
I was given a gift, and my principle in life is I'm not sure how persons sometimes blesses me who are not Christian or what they do to make their money. Not my business. My business is you give me the money, I need to give back to the Lord out of what
But
was.
do you think that he would want that money though? I mean, we know we want to give him, somebody give us a gift thing. But do you think he would want that money though?
Well,
He
he created all things, and he knew that that person was going to give me the money, and he was probably just waiting to see what I was going to do with it. So I'm not going to hold anything that is his. So therefore, if he doesn't want the money and he simply says to me, Cleon, you can use the money, well, then I'm going on a shopping spree with the tithes.
Listen,
I would get me that Burberry shoes that I'm looking for my birthday. So if you're out there thinking about getting me a gift, remember, Burberry's my fan.
I know Tyrone, Uncle Augie, and Randy. I hope you are listening, and because y'all got to get him on this. All right, moving on.
All right, that's a ticklish one there. Shabiki. Now, the church does not condone gambling. It doesn't encourage its members to gamble. So, is it okay for the pastor and company to collect tithes from someone's gambling venture? Is it okay?
That has been a contentious debate for a long time. And the conclusion that many persons would have arrived at is, hey, it's God's money, as Cleon rightly said. It's God's money at the end of the day. Well, they get it in that form, gambling, which God said don't gamble. But my personal opinion and conclusion on that, I ain't gonna tell nobody, don't throw your tithes. If somebody comes to me and say, hey, I just want some money and I want to throw tithes, I want to give God his money. For me, I don't believe I should be the one to cast that judgment and say God ain't gonna bless it, God ain't gonna accept it. I don't know what God would say specifically as it relates to that. And if they're giving the money, they want to return it to the Lord, let them return it to the Lord. But everyone has their different opinions on it because of the fact that God said don't gamble. But bro, give your money to God, you know, because and even if if I want to push this further, even many times when we I don't know how many persons are Seventh-day Adventists that are listening, but even when we do in gathering, you know, there might be things that somebody might be in drugs or somebody might be doing this and doing that, but these same persons may be giving support to the church with no ulterior motive behind. So what do we do? Turn them back, turn them away, or say, hey, we're not collecting that money and we selectively collecting money from persons? I don't think so. I really, really don't think so.
Your take, Samantha.
Um, the Bible specifically says that we return a tithe on our increase, right? And the means, well, Cleon said that the ticket was given to him, or he gambled, as the case may be. The ticket was given to him in the scenario, and as such, he's returning a tithe, and I agree with him. And if I am in the same situation, I am saying that I will return a tithe, because the Bible, which I believe, or what my beliefs are, is that I return of my increase. And so this money that I receive on the lotto is from my increase, and as such, I am returning it. Now, my tithe being returned to the church is a relationship between me and God. You see, the people who collecting it and counting it, that's not the business as to where I got it from. And therefore, that's where the contention lies. The people who receive it to put it where it is supposed to go, they are contending whether it's right or not. My return in my tithe is about a relationship between me and God. And so it's not your business that I am returning this money that I would have received from the lotto funds, as the case might be.
All right. Orlando, Jesus looking down, listening in, and trying to figure, we humans out and things. What might he be saying about this whole thing, paying tithes from what might be considered ill-gotten gain?
Okay, so I think we're on the last session, because I'm going to go in a totally different direction. From the last podcast we had about tithing.
A couple weeks back when Malika was there.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Yeah, a couple weeks back when Malika was a guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I am not big on tithing, because I've seen nothing of what the money's supposed to do. I would go straight to the source if I win the lottery. And this is something I say all the time, that I would do. We do something at my job called FORD. It is family, occupation, recreation, and dream. My dream is to build a home for the less fortunate kids, because I know what it's like to not have, to depend on people, and the same monies that was supposed to be coming in from the church, I never got help from. So I would go straight to the source and build that home and take care of the kids. That's definitely what I would do. Taking care of my family or everything else comes after. My main focus, it would be to help the kids. Tithing, I would give, but most of my money would be invested in making sure that kids are taken care of, because I know the pain of going through that.
All right. Thank you so much. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. We have with us Orlando, Samantha, and Shibiki. They've agreed to come on and respond to our good old Cleon. So please stay tuned.
Is it healthy to cry?
Absolutely, man. I think our culture and how we were raised in the Caribbean would have said, no, it's not, especially for men. But I do think there should be a balance, especially for the male gender, when it comes to expressing your emotions and crying. Not that it is wrong and not that it is right, but like anything that is in the excess will no longer be considered good. So it is healthy for us to encourage our both young men and women to express their emotions and to shed the tears that God would have given to us for a reason.
Samantha, as a woman, are you comfortable with watching an adult male cry?
Yes, I am. Tears
Okay.
is tears are normal. It's for me, it's a normal reaction to a wide range of emotions, and as such, tears are normal. I don't have a problem with a grown, as we say, a big man crying. I don't have a problem with that because it's his way of expressing his emotion on at that particular time. And can we please normalize people crying? We raise our sons, big boys don't cry. And it's time for, why are you crying like that? And we raised a lot, we are raising a lot of emotionally detached people, and you walk around with all of that emotion. So I have no problem, and I will not make a mockery if I see a grown man cry. If it's a situation where I could reach out and embrace, I'll do that. But I'm usually the stay from afar and look on kind of a person, unless
Okay.
that person is close to me.
All right. Good point. Your take, Shibiki.
Yeah, I like the fact that persons in the chat, they would have alluded to the fact that Jesus would have wept. And so, him being our perfect example says to us there's nothing wrong. I think when it comes to the concept of emotional intelligence, we have limited that to women and not to men. And so, we have a whole lot of unemotive men walking around the place because our moms, our society would have trained them, as Samantha rightly said, big men, big boys don't cry. So, since their babies coming up, we are indoctrinating that into them, and that is why, because of them not crying, we have so many violence in the society. We have so many pent up men. So the only form of expression they can have is to either kill a woman, beat a woman, or be derogatory in some way, because that's the only thing they would have learned to only how rather they would have learned to express their emotions. So I rightly endorse what Samantha said. It is time for us to normalize the concept of men crying, and I have absolutely no problem with a man crying. For me, when that happens, it makes it feel like, hey, bro, I am with you. Hey, I can talk to you. Hey, as a woman, we can support you. So for me, I feel really great when I see that, and it's time for us to normalize it.
Okay. Going to your point, Shibiki, Shel Simon, she was saying, now I don't have a problem if he constantly bursting into tears. How much tears? How much tears is okay for a guy, Shibiki? I mean, you want to cry every tear, right?
You see that point, Shell, I love your comment, because even I will even have a problem if a woman constantly bursting into tears, like every single thing you're crying for, right? Worse yet, for a man to every little thing to be crying for. But I don't want to say, oh, we have X amount of tears limited to the guys and X amount of tears limited to the girls. But Shell, I feel you on this. I feel you on this. I may, if I'm dating a guy like this, I may kind of think that, hey, he might not be able to deal with situations. He might not be able to effectively deal with matters. How is he going to be really and truly, totally, I don't know what word to use there, but supportive to me in a sense? So, girl, I feel you, right? But I'm still not going to put any limitations on the tears, right?
Alondra, big man and tears. Is that something that works with you?
I mean, it's okay to cry. Crying releases a lot of tension. Like the ladies on the panel said before, dealing with a man that has pent up anger, there's so much that comes out from that. And I have a son, 25 years old, and has sometimes he goes through his young adult things, but he wants to hold it in, and you can see the slightest thing that you would say to him, he would explode. And that's because he has so much pent up, and he thinks that it he shouldn't show his emotional side. So he holds on to that, and then it blows up into something else. Whereas I would talk to him as his mom and try to get him to calm down. He didn't get that from me. I show a lot of emotion, a lot of love. I just think it's a thing where he thinks he has to be the man and not show tears and not cry and show those kind of emotions. But it is okay for a man to cry. It will help so much if we do. We'll save our sons.
Right. Okay. Great thing. Great point. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House with our guest this evening, Cleon Cadogan.
Drama, comedy, suspense, horror, or musical? What's your favorite and why?
I like suspense movies because it keeps your interest.
Okay.
If I am going to figure out the movie from the, how they call it, the trailer that they show, I'm not going to look at it.
Okay.
Because when I studied in Trinidad, we went to Trin City to look at one of these movies, and I said to them, this person is going to die in the middle of the movie, this person is going to be the star, and we're going to find it behind a chair. Wake me up when it's done. All of us were excited to go and see the movie. But for me, if I'm going to figure out what is going to happen in the plot and as it climaxes, that don't make no sense.
Right.
So I prefer to have a suspense movie that has a little bit of horror and a little bit of comedy at the same time. So you're just like glued because you want to know what is the next thing that they are going to come with that you haven't thought about.
Right, definitely. All right. So you don't want nothing big at the cry and stuff.
I don't find that.
All right.
Not into the romantic scene of movies. Not even Titanic made me cry.
Really?
Because I just thought that the woman was being selfish in trying to stay on the board by herself. They could have taken turns. You go down, I come up. You go down, I come up, so that we will keep each other warm. But Rose was selfish. Come for me if you're ready for that.
So, Matthew, you saw Titanic?
Yes, I did.
Did you think Rose was selfish? Cleon seemed to feel that Rose was selfish.
I never looked at it from that point of view. I did not. I think I looked at the story from a different perspective, and the theme of the story and the time, the literature and the time in which we existed. I think that women were cultured to believe that they should always have the upper hand for men, or men should always give up their rights for them. And while there's a middle ground towards that, so I've never looked at it from that point of view. But I may now want to look at Titanic and
see if you can Cleon's perspective.
see what's Cleon's point of view. That may be my movie review in the next school term with my students to hear what they have to say. But
Orlando, would you have seen Titanic?
I am not a movie person. Maybe bits and parts of it, but not the entire thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't. No, that's all right. That's all right. Shibiki, did you see Titanic?
Yeah, I saw it.
And did you see it from Cleon's perspective? Was Rose a little selfish?
I really didn't see. I was annoyed with her. I didn't class her as being selfish, but I was annoyed with the fact that he was telling her, "Hey, stay there," And I was thinking that, hey, both of you guys could have been saved, because I believe that he would have been able to find another alternative while you go away. But she was so she was in love, when you're in those panicking situations, sometimes you don't make right judgment calls. And I don't think Jack, as somebody in the chat said, he was a Jack Otomiko, that Jack was solid enough to let go and leave Rose. I'm thinking that Jack would not have allowed her to go into that water, that torrent stake in. Nah, he would not have allowed her to do that, because for that point, I see it as a man who know that, hey, I'm going to do all I can to save you, even if it comes to that point of sacrificing myself. And I respect him for that, but I still thought that Rose should have been a little more intact, so that, hey, let him figure out to say, just go away. You can find your man after, but
Right.
I understand.
All right. 15 questions at the Georgetown Tea House.
What is the biggest mistake that women seem to make in relationships again and again?
I would say the abuse, whether it be verbally, physically, or mentally. If the person would have done it before, they're capable of doing it again. And this has nothing to do with whether you're Christian or non-Christian. And I know people are going to come for me with this, because I usually say, and before my wife and I started dating, I said, don't play fight with me. Don't try to hit me, because I ain't doing nothing. I ain't hitting you. Don't hit me. That's just my policy in life. I've seen too many friends and family members who would have suffered at the hands of domestic violence, and it's not pretty. It tells on the mental psyche of people for years after. So if you allow them to do it while you are not married and you go into marriage, you look for what you get. It's harsh. That's the type of person I am. I will give you straight facts. That's it. If you see the warning signs and you choose not to pay heed to the warning signs, then you are condoning that which you are accepting.
Orlando, in your experience, what mistake do women seem to make time and again, or would you agree with Theo?
So as women, we are nurturers. That's one thing we are. And we tend to think at times, and again, my opinion, we tend to think at times that we can change people. We believe that we can change. We see the signs, we see the flags, the red flags there, that this is not right for us. But then we still believe, yeah, I can change that. I can make this happen. I can make it work. And then we put ourselves in situations that is completely difficult to get out of, or it causes a lot of mental stress, which is even worse than physical. Mental stress can do, it can totally push you overboard. It can cause a lot of damage. So we see the signs and we still do it because we're nurturers and we think we can do so much better and we think we can change that person and put ourselves in a better, we live sometimes in this fairy tale world of thinking that everything is going to be okay, and it just turns out to be one of the worst things ever.
All right. Shibiki, why do you think it's so? Why do you think that some women believe, I can change him. I can make him better. Well, what is it something in their makeup? Is it something in their mind? What's clear?
Yeah, I honestly think, I don't know if I should think it's wired in our DNA. And I endorse Orlando's point with us being nurturers. And we grew up with moms and teachers, especially any female in general. And most of the times when you look at those individuals, their roles were try to change the child to be a better person. Teachers will work with children and they try to make them better persons. Mm-hmm. So in the same frame of mind, we get into a relationship and we think that, hey, I can work with this guy and I can change him. And we end up being like, those kind of I was looking at the name slipped me. But those centers that are there for drug addicts and everything, that we try to change them. So we kind of want to fit that same role. So the guy is bad. He's an abuser, as Cleon rightfully said. He is this, he is that. But hey, after all, I can be with him. I can talk him through this. I can change it. But ladies, let's get a snap out of that. We can't change no man. We can't, as a matter of fact, we can't even change anybody. God is the person who does the changing, and the only thing we can do is pray. But if we realize that, hey, praying working, sister, run. Don't even think about marriage with that. You're gonna die. Yes, I like the word rehabilitators. Yes, somebody put it in the chat. Yeah, we are not rehabilitators. Come on, get a grip of our lives and try stop saying you're changing this man. Who you be? Yes, I'm done.
All right, thank you. Samantha, what's your take on obsession of some women to change the guy, and
I don't know what's the obsession. I just feel as women, we just like to take all. We feel like we are the world's greatest do-it-yourselfers. So we want to we get our home and we try to make it. We get our house and we try to make it into our home. And similarly, we get an emotionally detached, unstable gentleman, and we try to and then we try to make him into a stable gentleman. And we're not supposed to do that. But in addition to that, I think outside of the fact that we are nurturers, sometimes we put ourselves in situations that we should not have been in. And instead of us accepting that we should not be in that situation, we stay. We stay to prove a point to God knows whom. And in the end of it, we hurt ourselves a lot more than we're prepared for. But to further answer the question as to a mistake that women make in relationships over and over again, for me, looking in, I find that as women, we make our relationships our all, the center of our being. And like, this is all we do, and we don't do anything else. And if that relationship is to go left, we are left, like, as we like to say in Ghana, we left like fish out of water, because we have made this thing our all, and we don't know how to function outside of it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Tyrone, in the chat, Tyrone Montfort was saying that, hey, ladies, we men are nurturers too. So I think he essentially wasn't necessarily, buying the argument that, the nurturing. So we will tend to have this kind of weakness then. What say you to that, Orlando?
I mean, it's a totally different nurturing. Women, we have this warmth about us, this care about us. It's totally different from what a man would offer. So there's no comparison to what a woman could give or what a woman gives, or the word that we specify or we put together compared to a woman being a nurturer. It's not the same. We can't compare a man's nurturing to a woman's. Is definitely not the same. That's why we are mothers. That's why we were given that job, because it's a special something that comes from within, that is powerful, and it's felt throughout. It's felt. So it's not the same. It's not the same that you can compare.
All right. Cleon, we're going to need you in the chat responding to Orlando. She's saying there's a distinct difference between a man nurturing and a woman nurturing. I mean, we may have to have that an in-depth discussion on that at another time. But let's hear you, Cleon, and we moving on in the meantime.
What was your favorite childhood game?
I love Sol Out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love to be in the middle of the dar, where you can go all the way from the front to the back. But I recognize every country tries to change it up. But if you know to play Sol Out, it's only the Guyanese way. That's the correct way.
No, Sol Out is a very, very nice game. And making sure. But here, how do you manage to sneak around when people are on all the different lines? So
you have to know how to be like a contortionist, if they say that's the type of person who knows how to flex and move, and you have to have speed at the same time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You gotta be able to grind them too, right? You
gotta know how to duck and dip and flip at the same time.
So beautiful and successful young woman approaches you and says, Cleon, I can make you happier than your wife ever would. What would you say to her?
Sweetie, the devil is a bitch. Yeah, that won't work. That won't work at all. And my friends will tell you I've said it before. And persons will say, but why would you even want to use the B word? Because it's something that we use in our colloquial jargon, not meaning to be disrespectful in any kind of a way. If it's going to be used, it's going to be considered disrespectful if it is being used against another person. But the devil, no, not at all. Okay. That won't work because I have found satisfaction in what I have ventured into. And this is a lesson for both male and female. Do not go into a relationship and then be thinking about what could have or could not have been. What you need to do is build on each other and work with each other as as the Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron. And yes, I said again, no, sweetie, because the devil is bitch. It won't work.
Definitely. You're happy and contented.
You got
no,
to be.
No, thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Because money will not bring satisfaction to anybody's life. I've had lots of money. I know what it is to be a millionaire because I've won $1 million before. So those things do not bring satisfaction to me. What brings satisfaction to me is knowing that I can be able to help someone to be the best version of themselves.
Georgetown Tea House folks, Cleon won $1 million. I'm not hearing about it. And the two of us have been friends for a long time. I'm just putting that out there.
That was when I won the GT&T Jingle and Song competition. It was $1 million in cash and prizes and a contract with the best telephone network in Guyana. So if you're thinking about sponsoring us, GT&T, call up a girl.
Cleon is too much. So you see, we got a plug, right? So I think I might have to do like Cleon said and call up and ask a question, all right? But getting back to Cleon's says Stall Out Orlando. It's his thing, that's his favorite game. Did you like Stall Out as a child?
I did. I actually did. But not more than Chinese or Chinese, whatever it is. Chinese.
Skipping, yes.
I hope I'm saying it right. Yes.
I
love that so much. I would find when I didn't have partners to help me play, I would find me 2 poles and put that little thing, rubber. Boy, I play all day in that hot sun. All day. I love them more. But I did love solo, but not more than my Chinese. Not
I agree with you. Solid is like one of my favorite games too, along with Dog in the Bone. If it's the outside games, Dog in the Bone, man, I like that thing where you're going around the bone and stuff. Shabiki, your Barbie's jersey, and I know Barbies like Solid.
Yeah.
I had some 100%. Friends of theirs draw Solid on the street and things.
So for us, that was one of our my yard where we grew up. It was like a community yard where all the children in the community they would come and they would play. And listen, there wasn't a day that went by we didn't play Salad. Mm-hmm. And so even before Cleon mentioned it, I'm like, oh, Salad. That was the first thing I said in my heart, right? So it's a fun game. And then we had both males and females. So there were times we had different age group mix. There are times we had the sexes against each other, males and females. Yeah. So we twist it up so many times. Sometimes we went so far, as children, we gambled a bit. So we had a lot of fruit trees in our yard. And whenever guinea was in season, we would gamble for guinea, right? So somebody would go pick guinea, get it there, and hey, the team that wins, this guinea belongs to you. So it spiced up things even a little more salad.
Right. I hope there was sweet guinea because I can't imagine eating some steady guinea. I hope they were sweet.
There were sweet 2 trees. So
okay, good.
Amazing, yeah.
Samantha, Cleon said something about dar. I don't remember the term.
What? But how could you play Sal House and not know what a dar is?
Oh, girl, I like I vaguely remembering
She
something, but
didn't
I
play
don't
it.
know.
She wasn't playing.
Not
She was
play it.
looking on.
Yes.
You are looking
I
on.
was running. I was
No,
running
you
and
have
trying to
no.
duck and stuff.
No, the bars are the
The
bars on
line?
the people
Yeah.
are standing to where you front dial to
Oh,
bat. You have
okay.
to bat salt on the front dial, and you have to pass the bottom dial to pick up salt and come back.
Oh,
That's
And
my
oh,
demand.
that was the thing.
I
Okay.
agree with Cleon. Everybody else, I don't know where the game come from. I think we should, Cleon, let's get together and write let's write the notes on how to play this thing and
Yes.
do a YouTube
No,
video and market
actually,
it.
no, I'm telling you. Actually, for this summer, I really was looking forward to hooking up with a few friends in New York here. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to one of the grounds and just spray on a little thing. I was looking forward to it. I'm telling
Yes.
you.
Now
But,
we have to
you know,
write the rules
hopefully,
for this. And if they're
yes.
not playing it the Guyanese way, they're not playing it right. I've
That's
All
seen
true.
right.
it. I've seen attempts of it in other places and I'm disgusted. Like,
Oh
what are you
wow,
doing?
wow.
What are you doing, people? This is not how the thing goes.
Look
But
at that.
but yes,
Solid.
we
Look at
have to
us.
play this period. We have to get together. We
All
have
right, we have to get together and play. You know, Shibiki, we asked Cleon about if somebody whispered to him that look, I could do this thing better than Janine, you know, and Cleon said no. I mean, and he used the big B word all. I mean, he was like, no way, girl. I happy and contented with the person I got home. You know, um, what were your thoughts on Cleon's response?
I love it. I love it. That's a woman that you have to stay far from. Indeed, she really sent from the devil, right? How could you come to this point of making comparison with my partner? Like really, woman? I look like if a
Hmm.
short because I'm just putting myself in a man's perspective here. I look like if a
Yes,
short of sex, a short of money. Like
right.
what else? How could you and for me, I think a woman coming up like that, that's totally disrespect. She's disrespecting you, and she is even more disrespectful to your wife because she feels she is better than your wife in some way or the other. Man, I endorse Cleon's response. Yeah, man. Call the word.
Okay.
The devil is that indeed. He's a bitch. Yes. I agree.
Um, Orlando, you know, have you found that some of us are so bent on comparing or outdoing another sister for her husband or partner or the kind of thing?
And you know what? I don't know why. Because at the end of the day, sisters are sisters sometimes is all we have. You know? Those are the women that we lean on in the time of trouble or what we might be going through with our partners. That's why it's a sisterhood. And like I said earlier in the on the broadcast, I'm for my sisters, and I'm the kind of person like Marcel. If you wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. I'm laying it out. You're wrong. You need to apologize. You need to go back and apologize. If I think there's certain things that you're doing right, or there's certain things you can speak through, I'm not going
Yes,
to advise you. I'm a good listener. I
right.
would say, where do you want to go from here? Let's
Mm.
work through this together as sisters, not, trying to, like you said before, trying to outdo each other or trying to see you go down and me stay up, because a lot of women do that. We rather see you. I actually had a situation like that, that you would try to tell somebody or put them down so that you can always be up. And that is something I'm totally against. I would nip that in the butt. I don't do outriding sisters. I love my sisters, and I am here to uplift them. So that's my part.
Okay. And Samantha, you share you share both Shibiki and Orlando's thought on
While I'm sitting and I'm hearing you reading the question to Cleon,
Yeah.
My immediate response before he responded was get thee behind Satan,
Right.
and so when he responded, I laughed because like Alanda's been saying, as women, why like really, why do we, you know this, even if you don't know this person, how do you walk into a situation and if a guy professes, well, look, I have a wife, why do you feel that it is your duty to try to mark one up on his wife? He has a wife, he declared that up front. I have a wife, I love my wife. Why do you feel that you can compete or mark, chalk one up more than his wife and present yourself to be much better than his wife? There's an old saying that as women, we are our own worst enemies. The old people like to say
I
that.
know.
Yeah, my
Yep.
mom likes to say, as women, we are our own worst enemies. But, you know, it
Yeah.
is true. But I agree. I endorse Cleon's response, and that
Yeah.
says to me that someone who is confident and someone who is comfortable.
Beautiful. All right. Um, you're tuned in to the Georgetown Tea House, and I say again, we're coming winding right down, and I'm saying if you're on YouTube, don't leave without clicking the subscription button and the notification bell to alert you every time we go live. We appreciate you, we love you, and we're happy that you choose the Georgetown Tea House every Monday night. And tell a friend, all right? They can still view it after, so make sure you're still sharing the link for us and you're sending your comments. I like the fact that you in the chat and sending your comments. All right. So thank you so much. Here is our 15th question. And just like that, we've come to the 15th and final question.
No,
Just
Summer,
like
so
that.
I'm a teen even finish.
Imagine that. What type of information is okay for a wife to hide from her husband? And what type of information should never be withheld in a marriage?
I don't think a wife should hide anything from the husband or anything that should be withheld because the two becomes one and you're working together. And if one is withholding information from the other, then they're not being honest, not to the person, but they're not being honest with themselves. Many times we think that if I withhold the information about being honest with the person, if you're not being honest with yourself, you really can't be honest with anybody else. So the box starts with you before you even think about what the person may be trying to withhold from you. And if you are having that open communication flow, some persons may say, but you did not remember to say this. If someone didn't remember something that would have probably transpired in their past life, that wouldn't be something that I would deem, as withholding from the individual. There's some things that may come up and you will be able to have the conversation about it. But if
Correct.
you are deliberately saying, I'm not going to share this, then you're not being honest with yourself and you can't be honest with anybody else. I don't think anything should be withheld, vice versa.
Okay. It could undermine the relationship.
Yeah, it is going to. And anything that has a crack is going to crumble.
Oh, wow. I like that. Thank you so much, Cleon. You've been wonderful on this side of the fence. All right. So thank you and looking forward to seeing you in the chat because they are going to have lots and lots of comments and responses for you.
And I want to say thank you to the Georgetown Tea House for having me in the hot seat while I'm under the fan, trying to stay cool.
I know. Thank you.
Blessings.
Anything that crumbles, anything that cracks, crumbles. Samantha, you heard that?
Yes, I did. I did hear that.
Anything that
I did hear that.
cracks, crumbles. Have you ever hidden anything from your husband? Have you hidden anything from him?
Who, me?
Yes. I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
don't. Okay, don't answer.
I can
Cleon,
answer. I can answer. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. Um, I am sorry, but I grew up in a different time. I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother always says, and I am sorry if that was bad for a marriage situation, and it may have caused conflict. I don't know. But my grandmother says that as a woman, you always must have some money put down somewhere that your husband don't know about. Always. And I don't know how to change that. As a matter of fact, that was facilitated for me, when I got married. This was the money to put down some way that your husband don't know about, and I don't know as a Christian if that caused conflict, but I lived by that because there came a time when I needed to go back and find that money that nobody knew about, and I needed it because I found myself in a situation where there was none, and that money was there for what it was for. And yeah, and ever so often, when I existed in that situation, I always have a bag of clothes that was always there. That was always, I always had that bag of clothes. It Sabbath morning we going out and I take out something for me, and you might get something on the side if I feel like we need to get the colors coordinated, not matching but coordinate. I bought that 6 months ago when somewhere had a sale. 6 months ago was probably before I came home last Friday night, before Sabbath hours. But yeah, well, and I mean that's minor things, but outside of that, that money issue, I have lived by that. I have lived by that, and maybe, well, no, it's not happening again. But I will probably still in carry that with me for the rest of my life. I don't know.
Okay. Orlando, what would you hide? There's maybe something in the past, something happened, maybe not stashing up the money, because I like to stash. I'm a stasher. And I think all women should stash. I put it out there. You should stash. And yes, I get a few a clothes, maybe a pair of shoe or something. But like on a serious thing, have you know, withheld something that maybe you should have said it? You should have mentioned to him. You were waiting at the right time, the kind of thing.
Um, I would not say there was a right time to say it. And I'm going to tell you something that I still would withhold from the person I'm with or anybody, as a matter of
Mm,
fact. And again, it goes back to what I was saying just a little bit ago. It's whatever my sister tells me. I don't think those are information or things I should share with my partner because sometimes it causes judgment.
Yeah.
People make mistakes all the time. And if my sister or my girlfriend or sister friend is coming to me with certain information or to just break down and cry, I have no right, and this is from the heart, going back to tell my partner, because that means he can turn around and maybe judge her on this and think that I should not hang out with her no anymore because I might be a part of that, even though he knows within his heart I'm not that kind of woman. So I do not want my other half looking at that person in a different way. And sometimes people, like I said, everybody makes mistakes. It might be something that they did that they regret, and they just trust you enough to speak with you or tell you about it. So no, I'm not telling. I'm right here, right now, and he can be looking at it. I'm not telling. That's it. I'm not.
And Shabiki, we're closing on you. What are your thoughts on
All
this
right,
one?
so I am the only unmarried person on this panel this evening. But my mommy always says one thing: some things are better left unsaid. And
Okay.
I have lived to believe that. It's a mantra I lived by. I don't believe let's I know all of these we have been mentioning petty stuff, right? Clothes and all of those things, but let's get
Yeah.
real now. Imagine a woman is going to get married. She had several sexual partners before, and her husband says to her, "Here what, honey? I want to know, I know you had sexual partners. You're not a virgin. I want to know all the men you had sex with, their names. I don't think any woman should go down that length to be revealing that I've slept with X, D, E, and given reeling out. These might be some of the guys who are still your friends. How does that man judge you talking with that guy? And there's absolutely no connection between you guys. That was ages, that was decades ago. I made a mistake, right? And so with that being said, and this, I'm talking here from vicarious experience, talking with adults, mixing with people, and hearing these setback, and even in my home setting, sometimes it's like whenever my parents argue, sometimes something that happened a long time ago. My mommy was never promiscuous, still not in that light, but something that happened long ago. And then sometimes daddy will just bring it up back, and mommy will be like, I should not have tell him. I never thought it would have been something that would have come up 10 years after to be slap in my face, as Orlando said, judge me. Because when you say certain things, when you go and you exposing your friends in front of your partner, or you exposing your past, he may not have even asked you, but you gone and you feel okay. It's okay to reveal everything. You might be living in misery for the rest of your marriage life. So I love that mantra. Some things are better left unsaid. However, if it's something that will be extremely detrimental to your relationship and you need to put it out there, whether he asks or not, put it out there. It's out, honey. Let's deal with this. You got to know what decision to make. But I know I don't want you to find out this from anybody else. I am going to tell you this. But ladies, sometimes we talk way too much. Not only to our girlfriends, but we want our men to feel so involved in our lives and to feel, oh, we're so open, oh, we're so emotional, oh, we're going to tell you that. And sometimes it's a big slap in your face for the rest of your life and you can't get out of the marriage. So please, be smart, be wise, but at the same time, don't be a deceiver. That's my final thing on that.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you so much, Orlando. And thank you so much, Samantha. You ladies were amazing as usual. And we're happy that you took the time to give your comments on Cleon's responses. And Nancy had asked the question about you, asked you ladies the question about where Cleon is from. Right? They had people say Buxton, and then Samantha makes herself fresh and say, oh, he couldn't be from Essequibo. And then because he started with Barbie, so the Corey should be kissing up something, right? But Cleon is from the East Coast. He is from better for waxing on the East Coast.
BV, see, close, Pleasance, BV, close.
The moment, the fact that he hit on Barbican, I'm like, he could be nowhere else from the East Coast. You close to Barbies, you gotta know us. Like,
Thank you so much to our viewers. You guys were amazing as usual. Always commenting. We love to hear you. And we're happy that you take the time out every Monday to join us at Tea House. All right. So don't forget to like the Georgetown Tea House page. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, don't leave without subscribing. All right. And you can still, at this end hour, share the link to a friend because they can watch it at their leisure. All right. So we want to thank you again and do have an amazing rest of the week. All right. Bye for now until next Monday.
Bye.
When our 15 questions. Bye.